I'm not into humans, my alien roommate said, yet she never leaves my shower. Marcus had seen the apartment listing 3 times before he finally called. Roommate needed. Quiet, clean, non-judgmental a must. That last line should have been his first clue. He arrived at the downtown loft on a Tuesday evening, expecting maybe a reformed party animal or someone with an unusual pet. What he found was a woman with lavender-purple skin meticulously arranging geometric crystals on the kitchen counter. "You're late," she said without turning around. Humans are always late. Marcus froze in the doorway, his boxes still in the hallway. "I'm sorry." She finally faced him, and he noticed her eyes were a deeper shade of violet, almost hypnotic in their intensity. Her features were striking: sharp cheekbones, full lips, hair that seemed to shift between purple and silver depending on the light. She wore a simple black tank top and jeans, looking almost human except for that impossible skin tone. "I'm Zephyra, your new roommate. I assume you're not going to run away screaming." She raised an eyebrow. "The last 3 candidates did." "I know." Marcus set down his boxes, his astrophysics degree suddenly feeling both incredibly relevant and completely inadequate. "I'm Marcus Chun. Are you? An alien?" "Obviously." She gestured dismissively. "I'm here studying human behavior for my dissertation. You were selected because your background check showed you're logical, skeptical, and desperate enough for affordable rent to overlook my origins." "That's accurate," Marcus admitted, thinking of his student loans. "Good. Rules: don't touch my equipment. Don't ask stupid questions about my planet. And absolutely don't disturb me during my research observations." She paused. "Also, I'm not into humans. Romantically. At all. So don't get ideas." Marcus laughed nervously. Wasn't planning on it. That was 3 weeks ago. Now, Marcus stood outside the bathroom door at 7 a.m., hopping from foot to foot, desperate to brush his teeth before his morning lecture. "Zephyra, you've been in there 45 minutes. The sound of running water continued uninterrupted. This was the 5th morning in a row. For someone who claimed to find humans primitive and uninteresting, she had a bizarre obsession with their plumbing. "Your shower technology is adequate." Her voice called through the door, slightly dreamy. "I'm conducting important research on water pressure variations. You're going to conduct research on my bladder exploding if you don't." The door opened suddenly, releasing a cloud of steam. Zephyr emerged, her purple skin glistening with water droplets, her hair plastered to her neck and shoulders. She wore his MIT sweatshirt. When had she taken that? And nothing else visible. Her skin seemed to glow faintly in the humid air. "Your human need for territorial bathroom access is noted and dismissed," she said, brushing past him, "though your concern is somewhat endearing for a primitive species." Marcus caught a scent of something like ozone and lavender as she passed. This was going to be a long year. The bathroom had become a battleground. Marcus started setting alarms earlier, trying to beat Zephyra to the shower. She countered by not sleeping. Apparently her species only needed rest every 72 hours. He tried reasoning with her about shared resources. She responded with a 10-minute lecture on how humans wasted water on inefficient biological maintenance. Yet every morning, without fail, she was in there, sometimes for an hour. "This is ridiculous," Marcus muttered on Friday morning, knocking firmly. "Zephyra, I have a presentation in 2 hours. I need to shower." Silence. Then, "The door is unlocked." Marcus blinked. "What?" "Your species has bizarre modesty taboos, but if your need is urgent, enter. I'm merely standing under the water stream." His hand hovered over the doorknob. This was a terrible idea. But he really did need to shower, and something in her voice sounded different, less imperious, almost vulnerable. He opened the door slowly. Steam engulfed him immediately, so thick he could barely see. The purple glow of her skin cut through the mist like a beacon. She stood under the rainfall showerhead, face tilted up, and Marcus realized with a start that her skin wasn't just glowing, it was pulsing softly, like bioluminescence. "I didn't know you could do that," he said quietly. Zephyra's shoulders tensed. "It's involuntary." when exposed to prolonged moisture. She didn't turn around. On my planet, it's considered a sign of weakness, loss of control. Marcus grabbed his toothbrush from the sink, tried to respect her privacy while understanding this sudden honesty. It's beautiful, actually. She did turn then, water cascading down her face and body. Through the steam, her violet eyes found his. You think so? Yeah. He meant it. The way her purple skin lumens in waves was mesmerizing, like watching Aurora Borealis made flesh. On Xylith, beauty is measured by rigidity, control, emotional discipline. She touched the glass shower door. Water makes me soft, vulnerable. It's intoxicating and shameful simultaneously. Why shameful? Because I can't stop myself from seeking it out. Her voice dropped. Every morning, I tell myself I'll limit exposure. Every morning, I fail. Your species invented something my advanced civilization never achieved. Unlimited access to the sensation. Marcus set down his toothbrush. Is that why you're really here? Not for research. The research is real. She turned off the water finally, standing there dripping, glowing. But I volunteered for Earth assignments specifically. Water worlds are forbidden temptations for my kind. She grabbed a towel, wrapping it around herself, and the glow began fading. I'm essentially an addict studying her drug of choice. That's pretty human of you, Marcus said softly. Zephyr's laugh was bitter. Yes, which is why I can't be interested in humans. I'm already compromised enough. She brushed past him, leaving wet footprints and a lingering scent of ozone. But this time, her hand briefly touched his shoulder as she passed. Just a moment of contact that felt like acknowledgement. Marcus stared at the steamy mirror, his reflection obscured. Something had shifted between them. Some wall had cracked. He was in trouble. The water heater died on a Wednesday. Marcus discovered this at 6 a.m., when ice-cold water shocked him fully awake mid-shower. His yelp brought Zephyr running. She'd been doing that lately, responding to the sounds with concerning speed. What happened? She burst through the door without knocking. Cold water. The heater's broken. He shut off the stream, shivering, reaching for a towel. Zephyr's face fell in a way he'd never seen. She actually looked distressed. For how long? Landlord said maybe a week. Parts are backordered. She turned without a word and left. Marcus heard her bedroom door close, not slam, just close with quiet devastation. He found her an hour later, sitting on her bed surrounded by her geometric crystals, staring at nothing. Hey, he said from the doorway. You okay? I'm being irrational. Her voice was flat. Emotional dependency on sensory stimulation is a weakness. I should meditate and recenter myself. Marcus sat down beside her, careful not to disturb the crystals. Or we could go to my gym. They have showers. Hot water. Good pressure. Her head snapped toward him. Why would you offer that? Because you're miserable and I can help. He shrugged. Plus, you've been less condescending lately. I'm starting to actually like having you around. Something flickered across her face. Surprise, pleasure, confusion. I've been observing you for research. She picked up one of her crystals, turning it over, but the observations had become less clinical. You hum off-key while cooking. You leave notes on the fridge reminding yourself to buy milk, but never do. You talk to your plants like they're students who aren't paying attention. You've noticed all that? I'm supposed to be studying broad human behavioral patterns. Her purple skin darkened slightly. A blush? Instead, I'm cataloging Marcus Chen's specific quirks. This is a methodology failure. Marcus felt warmth spread through his chest. What if it's not a failure? What if it's just connection? Connection implies mutual interest. She finally met his eyes. You've been leaving the bathroom fan off after you shower. The mirror stays fogged longer. You know I walked past and stopped to look at the condensation. He had known. Guilty. You've been buying that specific body wash. The one that smells like cedarwood. My olfactory response to it is significant. I noticed you lingering when I walked by. They sat in charged silence, the crystals humming faintly between them. This is inappropriate, Zephyr said, but she didn't move away. I'm supposed to remain objective, detached. I specifically told you I'm not into humans. You did say that. Marcus shifted slightly closer. But you've also been wearing my clothes, spending 90% of your time in water-filled rooms, and just admitted you're cataloging my quirks. Scientific observation. Right. He smiled. So scientifically speaking, would going to the gym together be? Yes, she interrupted. The answer is yes. That evening, they walked to his gym together. Zephyra wore workout clothes that made her look both alien and impossibly attractive. In the locker room area, Marcus showed her the women's showers while he headed to the men's. 20 minutes later, he found her in the lobby, her purple skin glowing softly, her expression peaceful in a way he'd never seen. Thank you, she said simply. Anytime. She took his hand as they walked home, just laced her fingers through his like it was the most natural thing in the world. Her skin was warm, slightly electric against his. Neither of them mentioned it. Neither of them let go. The water heater was fixed, but things between them remained fundamentally broken. Or rather, broken open. Zephyra stopped pretending she wasn't watching him. Marcus stopped pretending he didn't notice. They orbited each other in the apartment like binary stars, drawn together by gravity neither could explain or resist. It was nearly midnight on a Saturday when Marcus heard the shower running. Again, he'd been trying to focus on his thesis, but the sound of water had become inextricably linked to thoughts of her. He stood, padding barefoot down the hallway. The bathroom door was cracked open, an invitation she'd never extended before. Zephyra, come in, Marcus. Her voice was soft, almost resigned. He pushed the door open. She stood in the shower, but the glass was clear enough to see her fully. Her purple skin was luminescent, pulsing in waves of lavender and deep violet. Water streamed over her curves, her athletic form, and she made no move to hide herself. I can't keep pretending, she said, turning to face him through the glass. Every time you're near, my skin reacts. My people would call it shameful, this visible proof of desire. But I'm tired of shame. Marcus's mouth went dry. Zephyra, you asked once if connection implies mutual interest. She opened the shower door, steam billowing out. I need to know, is this mutual, or am I compromising myself for someone who sees me as a curiosity? He closed the distance between them in 3 steps. You're not a curiosity. You're brilliant and infuriating and beautiful. I think about you constantly. Her hand reached out, wet and glowing, touching his chest through his t-shirt. My research ethics prohibit relationships with subjects. My cultural programming prohibits showing weakness. My own stated boundaries prohibit human attraction. Her fingers curled into his shirt. But I want you anyway. Marcus cupped her face, his thumb tracing her sharp cheekbone. Then maybe it's time to break some rules. She pulled him into the shower, fully clothed. Hot water soaked him instantly as her mouth found his, hungry, desperate, like she'd been starving for this. Her lips tasted like ozone and something sweet he couldn't name. Her skin under his hands was impossibly soft, electric, pulsing with that bioluminescent glow. You're glowing brighter, he murmured against her neck. Heightened emotional state. Her breath hitched as his lips traced her collarbone. Marcus, I should tell you, physical intimacy for my species involves. Tell me later, he said, lifting her against the tile wall. Her legs wrapped around him instinctively, and the glow intensified, casting purple light throughout the steam-filled room. She laughed. Actually laughed, the sound joyful and free. So, typically human. Act first, learn consequences later. Is that criticism or observation? Appreciation. She kissed him again, deeper this time, her fingers threading through his wet hair. Your impulsiveness is refreshing. They stayed under the water for an hour, learning each other's bodies, translating desire across species. Her skin glowed brightest when he touched certain places. Her inner wrists, the small of her back, the curve where her neck met her shoulder. Each pulse of light corresponded to her pleasure, a visible map of sensation. When they finally left the shower, pruned and glowing her literally, they collapsed onto his bed in a tangle of damp limbs and discarded towels. My superiors will reassign me if they discover this, Zephyr said quietly, her head on his chest, her purple skin still faintly luminous. Emotional compromise with a subject is grounds for immediate recall. Marcus's arms tighten around her. Then we don't tell them. I'm supposed to file reports every week. They'll notice the change in my observations. They'll see that I'm... She trailed off. That you're what? Falling in love with a human. She said like a confession, like a sin, like a revelation, which is apparently something I'm very much into, despite my protests. Marcus kissed the top of her head. For the record, the feeling's mutual. They fell asleep like that, her skin gradually dimming to its normal purple, his arms wrapped around something extraordinary he wasn't ready to lose. The message came 3 weeks later. Marcus woke to find Zephyr sitting at the kitchen table, staring at a holographic display only she could see. Her skin was its normal purple, no glow, always a bad sign these days. What's wrong? Recall notice. Her voice was hollow. My research period is complete. I'm to return to Xylith in 72 hours. The coffee mug slipped from Marcus's fingers, shattering on the tile. Neither of them moved. Just like that. Just like that. She finally looked at him, and her eyes were wet. He'd never seen her cry before. I petitioned for extension last week. Denied. Apparently my recent reports have been emotionally compromised and scientifically invalid. Marcus sat down heavily across from her. Because of us. Because I stopped writing about humans and started writing about you. Because I couldn't maintain objectivity. Because I stopped seeing Earth as an assignment and started seeing it as... She gestured helplessly. Home. Come with me, she said suddenly, desperately. To Xylith. You're an astrophysicist. We could sponsor you as a researcher. We could. Zephyr, Marcus took her hands. Those beautiful purple hands he'd learned so intimately. Your planet has minimal water. You told me that. Would you really ask me to take you somewhere that makes you miserable? She crumpled then, pressing her forehead to their joined hands. No, I couldn't, but I can't lose you either. They sat in silence, the holographic display casting alien symbols across the kitchen walls. There's one option, Zephyr said finally. It's unprecedented and professionally humiliating, but it exists. I could apply for extended cultural integration study, essentially admitting I've gone native and requesting permission to remain for deeper observation. What would that require? A human sponsor. Someone willing to be my primary research subject indefinitely. Someone who understands they'd be under constant observation, filed in reports, analyzed and documented. She met his eyes. Someone willing to have their relationship classified as an ongoing experiment. Marcus started laughing. This isn't funny. It's perfect, he said, pulling her into his lap. We're already analyzing each other constantly. I can't stop studying how you glow when you're happy, how you hum in the shower when you think I can't hear, how you reorganize my books by color when you're anxious. You've been observing me since day one. Why stop now? Because it makes us official test subjects instead of... She struggled for words. Instead of what we actually are. Marcus kissed her softly. Zephyr, I don't care what label your people put on us. Call it research, call it cultural exchange, call it an unauthorized interspecies romance. I just want you to stay. Her skin began to glow, faintly at first, then brighter. You'd really accept being my primary human subject indefinitely? On one condition. What? You stop hogging the shower. We share from now on. She laughed through tears, and her glow intensified until the kitchen was bathed in purple light. That can be arranged. For scientific purposes, of course. Observing human bathing rituals in their natural habitat. Of course. Very scientific. She kissed him then, deep and sweet, and tasting like ozone and promise. I'll submit the application today. 6 months later, Marcus stood in that same shower, Zephyr wrapped around him, her skin glowing brilliant purple as water cascaded over them both. Your quarterly report is due tomorrow, he murmured against her neck. Subject continues to exhibit fascinating behavioral patterns. Her fingers traced patterns on his chest, particularly his tendency to distract the researcher during important documentation periods. Researcher continues to be very distractible. It's a flaw in my methodology. She grinned against his shoulder. I'm thinking of studying it extensively, for the next several decades at least. Only several decades? Well, I'll need to apply for renewal after that. Extended cultural integration study. Unprecedented, but I think I can make a case for the scientific value. Marcus turned her to face him, water streaming between them. Her purple skin luminous and perfect. I love you, you know, even if I'm technically just your research project. I love you, too. She kissed him softly. Best research project I ever undertook. Even if you're just a primitive human with decent water pressure. Says the alien who never leaves my shower. Our shower, she corrected. Everything in your report says, our now, our apartment, our routine, our bed. She paused. Our life, Marcus agreed. Outside, the world continued spinning. Earth and Xylith, separated by light years in culture and biology. But inside that steam-filled bathroom, under hot water and purple light, two people from different worlds had found something neither species had properly documented. They'd found home, and neither of them was leaving. The end.